Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a great start to their week. I hope you're all staying healthy and you're staying strong. In this class, everyone, we are looking at IELTS speaking part 3, the last part of the speaking interview for the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. We were planned to do this last week, but I caught a nasty cold and I'm on the mend now. So we're going to do it this week. And I'm going to give you some Band 9 tips and answers for part 3 of the IELTS speaking. And this is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. We will have an all chat class in 90 minutes that will also be a speaking part 3 where everybody will get a chance to practice. Hi Jainil, hi Hasna, hi Arda. I'm doing much better, Jainil. I'm sure you're going to hear that I still have a little bit of, my voice is still a bit off from this bad cold that I was going through, but definitely, at least I have my voice back. I didn't have a voice for the past few days, so it's good to have my voice back, and I'm here and happy to be here and ready to teach and learn with you. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. We're going to use these websites today for some actual speaking with some students, and this is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click this big red button just above my head here, the Join Now button, to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and we are an official British Council IELTS test registration center and certified agents, so you're in great hands with us. When you join, you get a My Student account. And in your My Student account, you have computer-based practice exams. You have a full interactive course that you can go through with tips and strategies. You have over 100 hours of HD video lessons. And then you also have this student partner speaking. If you're looking at a mobile, you'll see it more kind of like this. Let me just pop up these videos. And you'll see task 1 writing, task 2 writing. And then you'll see this student partner speaking. We're going to actually use this student partner speaking in both classes today to speak with some of our students. And I'm going to ask some IELTS speaking part 3 questions, and then I will give you an estimated band score and an analysis. Hi, Atharwa. So I'll give you instructions on how to do that in just a few moments. Again, follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTSHelp. On our Instagram, you will find daily vocabulary, free strategies, and also our schedule and lots more. Hi, Rashika. If you ever have questions, students, just simply send me an email at adrian@aehelp.com, and I will gladly help you out, give you an answer to your questions. So again, right now we have speaking part 3, and then we'll have another speaking part 3, of course, different questions. And tomorrow we're back to our regular schedule with speaking part 1 for everybody. Okay, so the IELTS speaking, everyone, it's a 12-minute interview. And usually the examiners really kind of stick to that time. So they go through part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 will be some questions that are general about you, your hobbies, colors that you might like, numbers, maybe some pets, where you live. So that's part 1. It takes about 5 minutes. After part 1, you're going to do a cue card. And this is where we finished last week in our classes. Last week, we had this interesting cue card. Let me make this a little bit bigger, and even bigger. Okay. So we had this cue card where basically we spoke about an item that we use to stay safe. And I guess that many students who saw that lesson will remember that we talked about a surgical face mask. So a lot of us are wearing face masks these days because of the COVID pandemic. It's an item that we use to stay safe. So for right now, all I want to do is just go over this speaking part 2 and review it. Hi, Shaliendra. Hi, Mohammed. Good to have you in our General English Help channel as well. We're multi-streaming to multiple channels. We've got lots of students all over the world, so it's great to have lots of you here. So basically the reason we're reviewing speaking part 2 is because speaking part 3 is connected and related to speaking part 2. So it's very important that you do a good job in speaking part 2 because speaking part 3 will follow the same ideas, the same topics. So you want to make connections, okay? And that's kind of my first tip for the day. So in order to get a high band score in speaking part 3, you have to do a good job in speaking part 2, and you have to make connections in part 3 to speaking part 2, okay? So keep in mind what you said in speaking part 2, okay? And not just that, but here's another really good kind of tip or trick, if you will. Remember your notes. So remember your notes from speaking part 2, especially the different ideas that you came up with. What I mean by that is that in part 2, when you're thinking about what you should answer, you shouldn't just think of one answer. So you shouldn't just think of a surgical face mask as an item that helps you to stay safe. But you should think of other items as well, at least 2 or 3, and then pick the best one. You probably remember this from last week's class. And those other answers become really useful in speaking part 3 as well. Okay, so this is like a triple star, superstar kind of tip here. Okay, so for example, people said helmets. Members, do you recall what other items people mentioned last week that we use to stay safe day to day? And keep those in mind because those will possibly be very, very useful for your speaking part 3 answers, especially when we start doing some voice calls here today. So Hasna, Atharwa, Muhammad, Rashika, Arda, Janil, what other items came into mention in last week's class for items that we use to stay safe? Anybody recall some of those other items? Those will become very useful for speaking part 3. And definitely when you're doing your real IELTS exam, keep that in mind. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, I think I remember what Janil said even specifically from last week. So what were those? Yeah, so Janil said safety boots. Now we don't really say safety boots, Janil, we say steel-toed boots or work boots. Okay, we don't really say safety boots. Rashika, we said surgical mask. That was the topic that we actually stuck with. So other than that, right? I remember somebody said, I think it was Janil that said goggles. So goggles are like the glasses, right, that we put on to protect our eyes when we're working with machinery and so on. We had a couple of other good answers for items that we use to stay safe, right? Gloves, yeah. So goggles, gloves, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Arda says electric shock device. It's not called an electric shock device, Arda. It's called a taser, I believe, like that, or with an S, taser. Thomas Vinod says helmet. Yeah, I've got helmet already, Thomas. Seatbelt, very good, Thomas. Yeah, seatbelt, absolutely. Taser, how do you spell taser? Maybe it's two Z's. Taser? I don't know how to spell taser, but taser is the device that you use to shock people, okay? Mittens, oven gloves, right? Those are called oven gloves or oven mitts as well. Yeah, you can say oven gloves, oven mitts. Absolutely. Seatbelt, yeah. You should always wear a seatbelt when you're in a car. Mitts, oven mitts. Yeah, I did it with an S. I don't know why it won't give me that spelling though, taser, Arda. But anyway, maybe spell check doesn't like a taser. It's scared of it. Okay. So those are some other types of devices that we use to stay safe. So keep those in mind when we're doing part 3 today, okay? So again, it's helmet, steel-toed boots, work boots, goggles, gloves, taser, oven mitts, seatbelt. Taser is like a self-defense device, okay? So something that's for self-defense, obviously. So here we go, everyone. Just for review, let's go over part 2. So I'm going to read part 2, and this is a speaking class, so speak and repeat, okay? It's very important. So copy my intonation, copy my pronunciation as best as you can, okay? And if you're feeling really good about it and you're feeling like, yeah, I can do this, try not to read, okay? So try to just copy me from listening only, okay? If you have to, you can do a bit of reading here, but if you don't, try to just copy me just by listening to my voice, okay? All right. So here we go, everyone. Talk about an item you use to stay safe. An item that I have been frequently using these days to stay safe is the surgical face mask. This is a piece of medical equipment that is made of 2-ply special cloth about 10 centimeters wide and 20 centimeters long, with a soft string on either end and a piece of wire. It comes in a variety of colors, the most common being blue and black. A person can get a medical mask from just about anywhere these days, but usually they are sold in pharmacies and medical supply stores. I buy it in bulk in a box that has 50 units, and it costs around $15 for the bundle. The correct way to wear a medical mask is to stretch it around the chin and the bridge of the nose and placing the elastic band around the ears. Importantly, the wire at the top part of the mask should be pinched to contour the nose so that the breath goes through the mask. In this way, the mask protects me from pathogens such as bacteria and flu, and it also protects others in case I'm sick. In addition, it also protects me from some pollutants, potentially harmful chemicals and allergens, as I am allergic to cat fur. Of course, these days, many people are wearing face masks because of the COVID pandemic. So these masks help to stop the spread of the disease, which allows scientists more time to come up with solutions to save lives. Like others, I use medical masks anytime I leave the home, especially when I'm in enclosed spaces like my work, a shopping mall, or a school. If I wouldn't use the mask, I could place myself in danger to catch an illness, and this could even be fatal. Okay, Adrian, your 2 minutes speaking time is up. Please put your note paper and your pen to the side, and we will now continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you a question or two related to your response and some questions connected to this topic. And then the examiner will think of an actual question that's directly related to your response. Like they might ask you something like, how often do you use a medical face mask each day? Okay, so they could ask you a question like that. They'll come up with some question that's directly related to the exact answer, okay? In many cases, they want to check and make sure that you're being original, you're not just memorizing speech, and that you're able to respond. Give me a nice full sentence answer to this question, students. So Sanjar, Thomas, Nafisa, Arda, Bakrat, good to see you in the class. Give me a nice full sentence answer to this one. So how often do you use a medical face mask each day? I'll give you an answer and we'll match up and see what yours is like and see if it's kind of similar to mine or not. So every day I wear my black face mask about 5 to 6 times when I leave my home and take my daughter to school or go shopping. I would say that I wear my mask for a total of about 2 hours a day. I just had it on this morning while coming to this exam and of course right now. All right, because you'll probably be wearing your face mask during your IELTS exam. Okay, Arda says, I have my face mask on at least 9 hours each day as I'm at school in daytime. During COVID, I have to put it on to stay safe from the virus. Yeah, and then Arda, you can actually give an example, right? And like right now, I'm wearing my face mask for the past 2 hours, right? When I came to this test and during this exam. Which you would probably be doing. So related to the current, that's always a very, very good way to do it. So Arda's doing something very well, which I'm also doing, which is giving an answer and a clear explanation and using quantitative language. Okay, so this is tip 2. Again, I keep reiterating this. So give an answer plus an explanation plus an example if you can. Okay, so make it really real world, like you're wearing your mask right now. You can say I've been wearing my mask right now for the past 2 hours or 3 hours, right? And plus here, quantitative. Okay. Quantitative means numbers, everyone. Okay, so use numbers. When Arda says 9 hours each day, that gives the examiner a really clear idea of what Arda is talking about. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to give an answer, an explanation, example, and you want to make it quantitative. You want to make it quantitative, okay? So great job there. And then after the examiner does that, they'll probably ask you another question, or they will introduce the connected or related questions of speaking part 3. So they might say something like, let's talk about safety equipment. Okay. Now, when you hear that, really focus on that. Okay. Safety equipment, we just talked about it, right? So all of those points from before, the helmet, the steel-toed boots, the work boots, goggles, gloves, taser, maybe, oven mitts, seatbelt, that's all safety equipment. In fact, I saw Thomas there give another good one, which is a first aid kit. Okay, first aid kit, that's a really important term that you need to remember. First aid kit is that little white box with the red cross on it that you use that has band-aids and all kinds of other tools to help people in trouble. So first aid kit, okay? All right, so we're going to talk about some safety equipment, and for this, I'm going to start calling some students, and we're going to do some live voice calls for this. Meanwhile, we'll look at Janil and Rashika. So Janil says, well, due to the elephant in the room, I have been wearing the mask for at least 8 hours a day at my workplace. Now, at this time, I'm wearing the mask in my speaking exam. Okay, very nice, Janil. I like that idiom, the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room means the big topic that everybody knows and everybody is talking about, okay? Rashika says, I usually use my surgical face mask when I'm leaving my home, such as when going shopping or traveling. By bus, I would say 2 times a day. Okay, and for how long, Rashika? So that would help as well. Bharat says, well, I mostly wear my N95 mask 3 to 4 times when I go outside in the day. I put it over my face when I attend college, lab classes, and recently I joined a gym session, and it's also mandatory to wear a mask there to feel safe. Very nice original answer, Bharat. Okay. All right, everyone. So let's get into some voice calling. So we've got a good number of members, and I see that we do have some students in the general English live class as well. So we're going to do some actual speaking with some volunteers, some volunteer students. So I'm looking for some volunteers, and I'm going to give you some instructions on what to do. Okay, I'm actually going to copy these instructions into the lesson so you can see it there. Okay, let's do some live speaking. So I'm going to call some of our students, and then I'll ask some questions, the same as an examiner. You will give me answers, and then I will analyze your answers and give you an estimated score. Sanjar, yeah, absolutely, you may. Let me tell you what to do. So the first step is you want to register a free or a paid account. It doesn't really matter because this service is free at aehelp.com. Okay, and once you've registered this free account, then log into your My Student account. Let me kind of show you how to do this as I'm giving you the explanation. Okay, so this is what you'll need for me to voice call you. Okay, so once you click on this big red button that's just kind of above my head there, or the green one, you'll create a student account. It's actually very fast to create a free account. You just need your email. And then you have this My Student account that's kind of way up there at the top, that blue one. You click on that My Student account. And then once you're in your My Student account, you have this student partner speaking. That's, again, just right above my head there. And you click on that student partner speaking. You have to accept that you're going to play nice and be nice with other students. And by the way, everyone, in our next class, we're going to do another speaking part 3, and everybody will be able to join this as well. Okay. And then once we have this, then you're going to be in our system here. So right now we have Syed, Murat, Ibrahimov, Amrit Paul, Aisha, Shahira, Richard, Hasna, Atharwa. So we've got Farduis, Sadaf. So we've got lots and lots of students in here already. And then basically I'll reach out to you and I'll ask if you want to volunteer. Okay. So I'm going to, and then of course the other important steps here, let me just go through a couple more important steps so this works really well. So what you want to do is you want to enable your microphone in your browser. That's really important. Okay, so when Firefox or Google Chrome or whatever you're using is asking you, like, do you want this website to be able to use your microphone and headset? Then you have to say yes, otherwise you won't hear me. And then make sure you keep that window open, okay? And you can message me. You can say, I want to volunteer. And then I know that you want to volunteer, and I'll reach out to you, okay? All right, everyone. So let's find a volunteer. Let me see who's in here right now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with one of our members. I see Atharwa is in here, and he's one of our members. Let me see if Atharwa is able to connect with me. So hi, Atharwa. And this is one reason it's good to be a member, because then you get to connect a bit more. Would you like to volunteer for a couple of questions? Let's see if I can get a hold of Atharwa for a couple of questions. Maybe, maybe not. And feel free to message me as well once you're online if you want to volunteer. I will actually see your message or your ping come through. And I see we have Kushal Deep and some others here as well. So let's see if I can connect with somebody this morning. Oh, I just heard a ping. Somebody's pinging me. Okay, Atharwa says, sure, sir, I am ready. Okay, and everybody, just remember, we're doing voice calls only. We can't do video because I'm using the video for YouTube, and you can't use your camera in two places at the same time. I see, Trin, that you pinged me, so just hold on. I'm going to start with Atharwa. Okay, Atharwa, I'm going to call you and mute YouTube so we don't get feedback, okay? Hi, Atharwa.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm just fine. Practicing for IELTS.
Good,
Yeah.
good. That's a good thing to do, Atharwa. When are you planning to do your IELTS exam?
Sir, I have registered for coming 17th December. Like
17th
call
of
up.
December. Okay, 10 days.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah, so
10
lots
days.
and lots of study. Make sure to do a couple of full practice exams before your test, like on the 12th, 13th, 14th. Do like a full 3-hour practice. That's a really good step. Okay, so Atharwa, we're going to just go over a couple of questions here, okay?
Okay, sir.
And again, just remember to answer, explain, example, use numbers when you can, and then we'll discuss it after. Sounds good?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay, so here we go. What are the most common types of objects that people use to stay safe on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, there are different types of things that people use to protect them from different things. Like people use helmets while they are traveling to the city or in the city, and they use like working boots when they are like working in industrial areas, and protective goggles when they are doing different like working jobs, and also for self protection they use teaser guns and
Which of
like
these is used more than any other?
okay, I think now these days people are using surgical masks to avoid COVID-19, and and it's totally part of a like people to people, and also affects our society. Like people nowadays they are afraid of COVID-19, so they are tend to use these surgical masks more times.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Atharwa. So I'll give you some feedback. So that would probably be about a band 6-ish on the IELTS exam, and I'll explain to you why. You're doing a couple of different points really well, and there's a few places where you can really improve, and I think you can get a higher band score. So I think you can even get like a band 657, no problem. Okay, so let me go over your answers in detail and give you some really important tips on how you can get a higher band score. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So first of all, everybody give a nice thumbs up in the chat and a little clap to Atharva because that was really brave. He went first. So let's acknowledge his bravery. That was fantastic. So, okay, Atharva, so my first question was, what are the most common types of objects that people use to stay safe on a day-to-day basis? First of all, you were nice and confident. That was really good. Like I could feel that you're comfortable now, you're confident, you're speaking calmly. That gave you a lot of fluency to be confident like that, which was really good. So your fluency score was excellent. Your fluency would be like a band 8. You're able to just talk, and it's not a problem, okay? Your pronunciation's fantastic too. Okay, so I would say easily a 7, 8 pronunciation. I can understand every word that you say, okay? So that was good. Your grammar sometimes is a little bit off, but it's not bad. Like it doesn't confuse me when you make grammar mistakes. Sometimes you make, like for example, you said working boots instead of work boots, but I get what you're saying, right? So it's totally fine. The quality of your answer, you can improve that a bit, and I'll explain how, okay? So your answer was, so again, my question was, what are the most common types of objects that people use to stay safe on a day-to-day basis? And you said, okay, there are different types of things that people use to protect them from different things, okay? So you said different types of things, and then you said different things. You want to avoid using the word things, okay? So instead of the word things, what kind of a word could you have used?
Like maybe different objects.
Yeah, exactly. So any word is better than things, okay? So different objects, different items, different equipment, different instruments. So lots of other words that could be better than the word things, okay? So really avoid the word things, all right? So different items, okay? Because the question we used objects, so you want to paraphrase it. Maybe use the word items, safety items, okay? All right. That people use to protect themselves from different kinds of danger, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of things like helmets. And there you were really clever because you were using some of those choices from part 2, right? Like helmets,
Yeah.
work boots, and you remembered what you thought of in part 2. So that was really helpful, right?
Yes.
And then you kept talking and giving different objects, okay? Instead of doing that, what should you have done? Because I had to interrupt you, like I had to stop you. I just felt like you kept talking and there was no end. So I had to interrupt you, and you don't want that. You don't want me to interrupt you. You don't want the examiner to interrupt you, because then it's more difficult for the next question, right? So you could have just said like helmets and work boots, okay? And then after saying helmets and work boots, what could you have done to finish this response? What do you think?
Like yeah, people like use these objects for them. Like I think you can use statement like that.
Good try, Atharva, but no, I would use an example, right? So
Oh, yes.
Jainil's writing this as well. It's really easy to forget that. So like that's why I keep saying it in these live classes, right? Example, you hear me say it 1,000 times, right? Example, example, example. Just a smooth example. I wore my helmet, my bike helmet, on my way. Even if you didn't, if you took a bus, you can say I wore my bike helmet on my way to this exam this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
So and then you stop. Okay, so answer, explain, example, and then you stop, and then you wait for the next one. So let me do this one again, and then I'll give you the band 9 response, and after I say it, you can repeat it. Okay. So
no problem.
here we go. So what are the most common types of objects that people use to stay safe on a day-to-day basis? Okay, there are different types of safety items that people use every day to protect themselves from different kinds of danger,
Yes.
especially helmets and work boots. I wore my bike helmet on the way to this exam this morning. Okay,
Yeah.
so try it. What are the most common types of objects that people use to stay safe on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, there are variety types of things like safety things that people use to protect themselves from different objects of danger, like they wear helmet and work boots. And I just wore my bike helmet on the way to this exam in the morning.
Much better. So that would be an easy 7.5. Okay. You still accidentally slipped in the word things, and I know you caught it because you're like, oh, I just said things. I could feel that you were thinking that. But it takes practice. It takes practice to avoid using the word things. Always work on that because that will improve your writing and your speaking. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Atharwa, keep practicing as you have been doing, and you'll do fantastic. Okay. We'll give somebody else a chance to practice a little bit, but that was fantastic, Atharwa. So thank you so much for being the first volunteer. Keep it
Thank you,
up.
sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a great day. Okay, everyone. Again, you can give a thumbs up to Atharwa. He did a fantastic job. And we'll look for someone else to practice a couple of questions with as well. So let me just take a look at our list here. Okay. So I believe we have Hasna here as well. Hasna, let me reach out to you and see if you are ready to practice. I can see there are lots of other people, so I'll reach out to more and more students today. Okay, let's try Hasna. So, hi Hasna. I can see you want to volunteer. Then I'm just going to ask you a different question. Are you ready to start? Because I can see that you already wrote me and said you're ready to volunteer. That's one way to speed it up, students. If you tell me I want to volunteer, then I can just ask you if you're ready to start. Hopefully you're still there, and then I can reach out to you. So Hasna, if you're there, just send me a message back. Okay, you are there. All right, and again, students, when I connect with you, it's voice only, and make sure to mute your YouTube, especially if you're using speakers, so we don't get feedback. Okay, Hasna, I'm gonna call you right now. Hello, Hasna.
Hello, sir.
How are you doing?
I am good. And how are you, sir?
I'm still recovering from this cold or flu that I caught last week. You can probably hear my voice is still a little bit off, but I'm doing okay otherwise. My energy level is good, so thanks for asking. All right, Hasna. So, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
I want to attend a college in Qatar, and I need IELTS score to pass the exam.
Interesting. So you need IELTS for college in Qatar. May I ask, what are you planning to study?
I am planning to study human nutrition.
What is that?
I think I think it's about foods, how to eat a healthy food.
Oh, okay, okay. So, like, are you planning to be like a dietitian or a nutritionist?
Yeah, I am planning to help poor kids to have a healthy body and a good fit for their future and daily basis.
Okay, so improving nutrition and diets for children. That's great. That's a beautiful calling. So good for you. Okay, Hasna, so I will ask you a couple of questions, the same as an IELTS examiner will for part 3 on this topic, and then I'll analyze your answers. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Which types of problems can occur if people do not use certain types of safety equipment in dangerous situations?
Well, that's a good question. In my opinion, if a lot of individuals don't wear masks in their daily basis for a work or study, it will it will help the virus to spread out to further individuals. In the countryside in my city, most of the people doesn't believe in the virus and doesn't wear their masks every day. So within a week, most of the people have died.
How does this affect society?
I believe the society will not be that fit to do their normal jobs like for study or to do their normal activities at home like cooking and making their beds up, and they'll be a bit sad, I think.
Okay, Hasna. So, tough questions, right? But you can't really predict what the questions will be, so you do have to be kind of ready for any question. And my first tip to you, Hasna, is keep it simple. So don't overthink it. First of all, one point that you did really well here is that you connected, right? So speaking part 2 was about wearing a surgical face mask, and like Atharwa, who did the same, you connected your response to speaking part 2, which is good. But don't start with that, okay? So start a bit more general and then connect. All right, and you'll have a better answer. So again, the question was, which types of problems can occur if people do not use certain types of safety equipment in dangerous situations? And then you said, well, that's a good question, in my opinion, which is good. That was a good kind of slow leading to give you a chance to think about the answer a little bit. And then you started to say, if a lot of people don't wear masks in their daily work and study. So you got really specific really quickly, and I think that got you into a little bit of trouble because it was difficult to kind of explain in detail what happens when people don't wear face masks regularly. So what you want to do here is you want to be a little bit more general, right? So for instance, well, that's a good question. In my opinion, use the question, right? If people do not pay attention to safety, they put their health at risk. I mean, they can get injured or get sick. And then you can say, if a lot of people don't wear their face masks, then a lot of people will catch COVID-19, and that can lead to, of course, a lot of terrible symptoms like coughing and even death. There are people in my town that don't believe in this virus, and so there's a lot of people who are getting really sick and dying. Okay, so start a bit more general. Okay, don't overthink it. Don't go too specific too quickly, because then you kind of get yourself into a trap. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and then the follow-up question is, how does this affect society? And then you said, I believe society will not be that fit to do their normal jobs. Yeah, and then you can, again, just keep it more general, right? To go to work, to go to school. If people are not able to go to work or not able to go to school, what happens, Hasna, in that situation? Let's stick with work. Like, if people are not able to go to work, then what happens in society? Keep it simple. Keep your thoughts simple. It's not meant to be a tricky question.
The economy drops.
Exactly. Why does the economy drop?
Because the employees work at home and doesn't cost that much.
The word that you're looking for starts with a P. PR are the first two letters of the word. PRO. Productivity, right? So productivity drops. Production drops, right? So like work and school. So production drops and the economy suffers. Okay, so one really important step in giving good answers in IELTS and for good communication is you want to develop this kind of linear step-by-step thinking. So A results in B, B results in C, C results in D, right? So A, people get sick. B, they stop going to work. C, productivity drops. D, the economy suffers, right? E, people become depressed, right? So it's this kind of A, B, C, D, and you want to keep practicing that kind of thinking, and then you can give very fluent and clear answers, okay? Let's try this, Hasna. So I'm going to jump back to the first question, and we'll go through this again. I'll say the question and the answer, and then you just repeat the answer, and then we'll go to the next one. Sound good?
So I need to repeat the answer?
Yeah, just the answer. After I say the answer, you say the answer. Does that sound good? We'll practice
Yes.
it a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Which types of problems can occur if people do not use certain types of safety equipment in dangerous situations? Well, that's a good question. In my opinion, if people do not pay attention to safety, they put their health at risk. I mean, they can get injured or get sick. If a lot of people don't wear masks in their daily work and study, they can catch COVID-19, like what happened in my hometown because people aren't wearing their face masks. Okay, go for it, Hasna, when you're ready. Just the answer.
Well, that's a good question. In my opinion, if people do not pay attention to safety, they put their health at risk. I mean, they can get injured or get sick. If a lot of people don't wear masks in their daily work, they will get the COVID-19 virus in my hometown.
Very good. Okay, you don't have to be that fast. You can be a little bit slower. I kind of felt like you were maybe reading, and that's okay for practice. You can be like 20% slower. That was even fast for a native speaker. Okay, so you can be slower. You don't have to be that fast. Okay, how does this affect society? Well, I believe that society will not be that fit to do their normal jobs. To do normal activities like work and school. So production will drop, the economy will suffer, and eventually people will become really depressed.
I believe that society will not I believe that society will not be that fit to do their normal jobs, to do their normal activities like work and school. So production drops and the economy suffers.
And people eventually become very depressed. Yeah, exactly. So that would be easily a band 8, even a band 9, Hasna, if you're going with that. Okay, so remember this A, B, C, D type of pattern, right? Like A results in B, B results in C, C results in D. Okay, when you're giving answers and when you're practicing at home, try to analyze your responses in this kind of connection of A to B, B to C, C to D. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hasna. Everybody give a thumbs up and an applause to Hasna. That was really great. Okay, we'll take another student here. Hasna, thank you so much for volunteering and keep up the good studies and good luck with your college. It sounds like it's going to be great.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's take somebody else here. So I see I've gotten a few different pings. I think Trin is maybe over in our GE class. Sanjar, I can see is there. Let me see if I can find. Okay. All right. Let me go with. Yeah, let's see. Okay, I've gotten a couple of pings. Okay, so here we have Trin. Let me see. So Trin, let's see if Trin is ready. I think Trin's from Vietnam, so we're going to take someone from Vietnam here. And I will ask Trin a couple of questions. And don't worry, students. We have another speaking class coming up after this one, following a short break. So we're going to take lots more students today and ask more questions. Please don't call me, students. I'll call you, okay? So Trin is ready. So I'm going to reach out to Trin. Okay, here we go. Hi, Trin.
Oh, hello, Adrian. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you doing today?
Uh, just as well. I could say I am pretty well, but
That
I do.
that's good. I'm on the mend, as I was mentioning earlier. I'm recovering from this bad cold, but I'm doing okay. Thanks, Trin. So, Trin, may I ask, why have you decided to do the IELTS exam?
Well, I think it's for my university planning since I planned myself to have uh, to access into a university where I need IELTS certificate.
Yeah, it's becoming very, very common that basically any major university requires some proof of English, and a lot of them are taking IELTS, of course, because the world is global and English is the global language, right? So
Yeah.
that's the way it's going. And may I ask, what are you planning to study?
Pardon?
What are you planning to study in university? Do you know?
Yes, I'm going to study maybe technologies and in that field about a lot about technologies.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, I'll ask you a couple of questions, just like they would in the IELTS exam, and then I'll analyze your answers. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So, how has technology improved safety equipment?
Okay. There are some significant improvements for safety items in terms of efficiencies and convenience. For instance, there is a well-known company out there is innovating common face masks into high-tech facial mask equipment, which can be used for over 5 years without replacement. In addition, this highly advanced item can also provide fresh oxygen for the user.
Can you give another example?
Sure, there is also a safety helmet where it can detect uh, cars, or you can calculating how you could prevent from crashing. It's I'm not really sure about this era though.
All right. Okay, good. All right, thank you. So I'll take a look at your responses. I think your band score would be around 5.5 to a 6. Okay, so 5.5 to a 6. And I'll explain why. So it sounds to me like you got stuck a couple of times thinking about how to finish your sentence or how to finish your idea. Not just because of the idea, but also because of the correct way to say it. So that stopped your fluency a little bit at times. So your fluency would have been scored like a band 6, 7 on that. Okay. You had some really good vocabulary though. So that was really good. I think your vocabulary is easily a band 7. Okay. Easily, even a band 8. Okay. Your pronunciation is very good. You have to focus a little bit on how to put the sentences together in a more coherent and fluent way. So it's more fluent and it's easier to understand. Okay, my first question was, how has technology improved safety equipment? Do you know what the grammar of this question is, Tran?
The grammar.
So what grammar is my question using? The how has technology improved safety equipment?
um, Present. It's
Present.
perfect.
That's
Present perfect.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it. Yeah, exactly. It's present perfect. The has improved, right? So you didn't actually reflect that in your answer clearly. And you want to really clearly reflect that present perfect in your answer. So instead of saying there are some significant improvements, that's how you start. You said there are some significant improvements. You should say there have been some. Okay? Because when you say there have been some significant improvements, then right away you're showing me that, oh, okay, you use the present perfect, I can use the present perfect also. And native speakers will often answer with present perfect when we hear present perfect. So there have been some significant improvements for safety items in terms of efficiency and convenience. And then you went into a long example about a special type of mask that was a little bit unclear, okay? Don't overcomplicate your answer. So this is not a thesis dissertation. You don't have to give a super complex answer to get a high band score, okay? So you can keep it much simpler. Don't say for instance, just give the example. The medical mask that I'm using is new technology that can filter even the smallest pathogen, including COVID-19. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm connecting to my part 2 answer here, okay? You don't need to say for instance or for example, because the examiners get scared. They think you're going to go into long example, which you actually did, and then they have to interrupt you so that they can keep the exam going and they can finish it, okay? So you want to keep it a little bit simpler, all right? So here is a simpler high band answer. How has technology improved safety equipment? There have been some significant improvements for safety items in terms of efficiency and convenience. The medical mask that I'm using is new technology that can filter even the smallest pathogen, including COVID-19. And then just stop, okay? So let's try this one more time. I'm going to say the question and the answer, and after I finish the answer, just give me the answer again, the same, just repeat me, okay?
Okay.
Sounds good? All right, here we go. So how has technology improved safety equipment? There have been some significant improvements for safety items in terms of efficiency and convenience. The medical mask that I'm using is new technology that can filter even the smallest pathogens, including COVID-19.
There have been some significant improvements for safety items in terms of efficiency and convenience. The medical mask I'm using is new technology that can filter even the smallest pathogen, including COVID-19.
That would be your band 8, band 9, no problem there, okay? So that's what you want to do. So don't overcomplicate it, and definitely don't run off with examples, okay? Because if you run off with the example, especially if you start with for example or for instance, the examiner is going to be like, okay, can you give me another example? So they'll interrupt you just to keep the flow of the interview going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of my first time, so I can't really cope with this.
You're doing great, and you're being very brave for volunteering. I mean, this is how it works, right? And by doing this, of course, by volunteering in this live class, you're building your confidence, and I think you're going to do fantastic on your exam once you get there. Just follow along and check out our website too. There's lots of help there to improve your speaking and for the other parts, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Everybody, please give a nice round of applause to Trin Quang. He did a fantastic job, and he was very brave for a first time. So thank you so much, Trin, and keep up the good studies, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a ton. Okay, everybody. Those are the 3 volunteers for this class, but worry not, because we have another speaking part 3 class coming up after a 30-minute break. So we're going to take a half-hour break. We're going to have some different speaking part 3 questions, and I'm going to spend most of the next class speaking with some students and analyzing responses. Practice with us. Repeat these sentences with us. There's lots to be learned from your peers. Peer-to-peer learning is a fantastic way to improve your language, okay? Thank you so much, Pranjal and Hasna, Jainil, Rashika, for acknowledging and Sanjar, our volunteers. Sanjar, come back in the next class as well. I'll be looking for you, okay? I saw that you really wanted to volunteer. I'll be back in 30 minutes, everyone. So keep in mind to visit us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS. And for general IELTS, please visit us at gieltshelp.com. Somebody's still calling me. Call me next class. So visit me at gieltshelp.com. And sign up for our premium courses. It's worth it. So it's worth spending a few dollars on our premium IELTS package. You can speak with other IELTS students. You can book a full IELTS speaking interview with me as well. So there's a yellow button in there that you'll see. It's called Speaking Interview Practice, for a full speaking interview with me to get feedback, get analysis. It's a private lesson, of course. You can use that function. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being with us. I'll be back in 30 minutes with another speaking part 3. We'll do lots of questions and answers. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. Much love to all of you. I'm just signing out for the moment from Victoria. Bye for now.